honey, I've caught you in like 5 lies in about 2 minutes.
Another round of interrogations for Brittany Gosney. Here she explains what happened inside her Middletown home the night before her youngest son, James Hutchinson, was killed. Gosney claims her boyfriend, James Hamilton, abused all 3 of her kids.
He had tied up all 3 of my children, stuck dirty underwears in their mouth.
And he was beating them. Literally beating them. I can hear thumps on the floor.
Gosney says the kids spent about 3 hours hogtied in a closet. She says Hamilton was going to get rid of them by leaving them at Rush Run Park.
Yes, he said all he could do is just leave them there or tie them up to something and leave them there and let the coyotes eat them. And he had this rope that he got for work use. And was using it to wrap the James and the center block. Stopped to the middle of the bridge, told me to get out, hurry up and open the back passenger side door. And I was to grab his feet and help him toss the child over. We tossed him around the splat because of the brick being heavy.
Right.
Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 69, and I am titling this one, James, You Are Loved. I'm your host, Nyoka.
I'm Rachel.
And before I jump into the story, I do want to give a trigger warning. This episode contains child abuse and murder, so listener discretion is advised. And
thanks for the warning.
You're welcome. So I chose this one because I had actually watched the whole interrogation of the mother of the 6-year-old that I'm going to be talking about today, and it was pretty shocking. So it kind of stuck with me, and it happened in Middletown, Ohio, which isn't that far from us. So probably like 45 minutes, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
So that's another reason why I remembered it. But anyway, so this is about a little boy.
And wait, and the mom, like a crazy bitch.
Yeah. Yes. And I'll post a picture of her and you'll know what I'm talking about because, I mean, you just look at the picture and you're like, whoa. But anyway, so this story is about a 6-year-old boy named James Hutchinson, and his life was just taken way too soon. And this is what happened. So Brittany Gosney, she is the mother of James, who we're going to be talking about. But she also has a boyfriend named James. Her boyfriend's name is James Hamilton. Her son's name is James Hutchinson, just so you know. So I'm going to call her boyfriend Hamilton. So her and her boyfriend Hamilton walked into the Middletown Ohio Police Department with her 2 children with a story that her 6-year-old son, James, was missing from their Crawford Street home. Less than 45 minutes later, the house had been locked down by police and detectives as Hamilton filled out a missing persons report. Now, the 2 detectives, Malcolm Tipton and Shioki Reese, I might be saying that wrong, let's say Reese, of the Middletown Division of Police, knew something didn't add up when they started talking to him. So the chief, Chief Burke, gave him a mission to interview them. Meanwhile, when the officers went to the house with the couple about the missing report and the young kids, to search the house, but nothing seemed right about the story from the get-go, as I said. And Gosney's young son disappeared on Saturday night, and the statements that both the mom and the boyfriend were like conflicting each other when they were given the story. And I remember watching the interrogation, and it almost, if I remember correctly, it was almost like, oh, he probably ran away. Like, he's done this before. He's 6. Okay. You know, like, he was a good kid, whatever. They weren't just saying anything. So the detectives, they were tasked with interviewing them to find out what happened. And they questioned the mom for like 3 hours that day. And
oh gosh, that's a long time.
Yeah. And she just denied any wrongdoing and detailed the events leading to her son's death before finally admitting that she had dropped his body off in the Ohio River. So police questioned her 3 different times. They questioned her, maybe 4 times, because they questioned her again on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd following her arrest. The interrogation tapes that I watched, they're all available on YouTube if you want to actually spend the time to watch it. She goes in like acting like nothing, like she's innocent, and she just didn't act like how a mom would act. She didn't call 911. She went to the police department, which is a red flag in itself. I would call 911 immediately if my son or daughter were missing. I wouldn't take the time to go to the police department. So
it was like she was trying to make herself not look guilty, but she really made herself look more guilty.
I think so. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a huge red flag. Like, why wouldn't you call the police? Like, in a panic, why wouldn't you just do that? I don't know.
Right.
During the interrogation, it took some time until, the truth came out, but their stories kept changing, and it was changing from James being missing to the fact that he was dead. She had first told detectives that her boyfriend was with her when they drove to Preble County and the boy was killed. And then she said later that she was alone. I'm going to get into what happened. I know this sounds really confusing because she's confusing. She's saying different things. He's saying different things. They're interviewing them separately. During the interrogation, after they found out that there was in fact some wrongdoing, they asked her, what does she think would happen if she abandoned her children? Because the goal was to abandon all 3 of her kids.
All 3?
And get rid of them. Yeah, she had 3 kids. She wanted to drop them off at this park and leave them forever.
So I'm assuming that the other 2 were older than James.
Yes, and I will definitely get into details about that. So when they asked her, like, what did you think would happen once she confesses to her son actually being dead? She replies, quote, I was hoping they would be safe and okay and not get eaten by no coyotes. But then again, me abandoning them was still not safe, end quote.
What the hell kind of reply is that?
Yeah. And she goes on to continue. She goes on to blame her boyfriend, Hamilton, and said, quote, he had told me to get rid of them, so I basically did what he asked. She also said that her boyfriend told her several times that he wanted her to get rid of them or he would do it if she wouldn't.
What a charmer.
Right? She claimed that she reached out to Ohio Jobs and Family Services seeking to give the kids up for adoption, but that her boyfriend didn't want them to open a case on them. And then she said that her boyfriend wanted her to put all the children in the car and throw them in the river and burn it.
Oh my God.
When asked why she opted to abandon her children instead, she said that she wouldn't do that to her kids, like throw them in the river and burn the car. She said that she just hoped that she would just drop them off and just be done with it. And she said that what happened to James was a pure accident and she didn't mean for it to happen. She also admitted that she knew that James was dragged beneath the car, which I will get into. that she was driving, but she says she didn't know at the time that he was dead. She also said that she saw James lying on the ground when she came back and asked if she heard him scream. She replied, "I didn't hear him scream. I heard the other two screaming, the other two kids." She says it was her boyfriend's idea to put James in the river so he would not be arrested for the bruises on the boy's body. And she also said that it was him, the boyfriend, that put a cinder block around James's chest before dumping him in the river. And she said, "And I heard when we tossed him over, I heard the flop because the brick was so heavy." Now, detectives executed at least 6 search warrants, and some of those were for like the electronics in the home. Some of them were for the home itself. One of them was for the minivan that she was driving. There were 6 total that they searched. And also they gave the mom a lie detector test. Now, the chief of police said that in the beginning they had different statements about when they last saw the child, which is also weird. And when it comes down to the details of the disposal of James, that was identical. The mother, she's 29 years old at the time. She was indicted in Butler County on 16 counts, including murder, corpse abuse, and endangering children. Her boyfriend, Hamilton, he was 42, and he was indicted on 15 counts, including corpse abuse, tampering with evidence, and endangering children. Now, after the interrogations and the charges, the 2 living siblings, they were removed from the Middletown home. Now I'm going to talk about what happened to James. And this is like so sad because according to the Preble County Sheriff's Office report, the mom, Brittany, said that she was under pressure, from her boyfriend to get rid of the kids, right?
Yeah.
So she puts James, Rachel, and Lucas all in the minivan. So James is 6. The other 2 are ages 9 and 7. She drove the 3 children in her 2005 Dodge Caravan to Rush Run to abandon them on what prosecutors believe to be on Friday, February 26, 2021. So this case is not even old. Now, she chose that location because she said she had been there before. So she was.
And this was a park?
It was a park, yep. And she chose it because she had been there before, like the kids had went fishing there before. And she admitted that she planned to get the kids out of the vehicle and then leave them behind. And I think the way that she did that was she tried to like stop and told them to go to like the restroom or wherever. It's how she got them out of the car, if I remember correctly from the interrogation. So she tries to leave them behind, but little James, he's terrified that she's leaving them. And he's so scared. So what does he do? He grabs the door handle of the minivan to try to get back in the van with his mom. And that's when she slammed on the gas, trying to leave him, and drug his body. And he ends up getting hit with the van. I'm assuming he probably got dragged under. And she leaves.
And the boyfriend is not present at this time?
No. At first she told the police he was. And then she said no, so she was alone. Okay. So she leaves the kids. She knows that James was just dragged. She knows all this. She eventually comes back, though. And she returned for the kids. So the 2 older siblings are in the backseat of the van, and she picks up James's dead body and puts him in the van in like the backseat with the kids. and drives home. Can you imagine being these little
And
kids?
drove home.
Yeah. So her and her boyfriend Hamilton put James's little body in a spare room under a window in their home. And around 3 a.m. on Sunday, remember this happened Friday. On Sunday, around 3 a.m., February 28th, they drove down Interstate 275 in the van to the Lawrenceburg, Indiana area, tied a concrete or brick block, whichever, to James and threw him into the Ohio River. And I guess that was supposed to help hold him down into the water, his body.
Oh my God. And did they have all the kids in the car with them?
When they dumped the body, I don't know.
Because I'm just thinking, I want to say from Middletown area to Lawrenceburg, it might be maybe an hour or 2-hour drive.
Yeah,
That's
probably
sick.
so. Yeah. Because she said in the interrogation when they got her in the interrogation because she's still in denial, and one of the detectives comes in and he's like, your boyfriend just said how you guys dumped his body in the river. Where?
Wow.
Where at? Where's his body at? She says somewhere between Indiana and Kentucky. So there you go. That's how she finally admitted, because the boyfriend admitted first.
Wow.
So even though they knew he was dumped in the river, his body was never recovered. And although his body was never recovered, they still felt very strong about their murder case. Because one, we got confessions, and two, I mean, these two older siblings were there. So they were witnesses. Now, other cases without bodies have been prosecuted just fine. It just depends on your evidence, and there's plenty of that, plenty of witnesses. Now, there was some video evidence, which was interesting because when she first said that he was with her when she abandoned them in the park, the boyfriend's like, no, I was not with her. I wasn't with her, and I have video to prove it. So they had like one of those like security cameras or whatever.
Oh,
and this was how he was able to prove it. So he was initially charged with tampering with evidence and told detectives he was not present when the boy died. He told them where to find the hard drive for the security system that hid in the garage on Logan Street. And he said it proved that the mom was returning and carrying James, who was already dead, into the house. So the evidence did show her walking out the side door and getting into the Dodge Caravan parked in front of their house at 3:16 a.m. on February 26. The three children are in tow. James is easy to spot because he's a cute little thing wearing little glasses. The children get in the back seat, and the van pulls away at 3:19 a.m. So she abandons them in the middle of the night, basically. So it's about 4:53 a.m. when the van pulls up in front of the house. And Brittany gets out of the van and hoists James, who is limp, against her chest and carries him through the yard and into the side door of the house. James appears to be wearing one shoe. Then you can see the two siblings follow their mother, and one of the siblings was carrying James' other shoe. On February 28th at 2:28 a.m., Brittany walks out of the home's side door and pulls up her hood because it's snowing or raining. And she walks to the side of the van, opens the back sliding door. Seconds later, the boyfriend carries James' body out and puts him in the van, quickly slams the door, and they drive off. So it sounds like the other two weren't there when they dumped the body. So all that was on video.
Maybe they left him home alone to sleep since she had him up all night, maybe?
Probably. And the abuse gets even worse. But before we go into that, I'm going to take you through the search for James's body. Now, they searched as much as they could, but they were forced because of flooding to pause the search, which caused them to never be able to recover James.
Oh, no.
It's just bad timing. Bad timing. But the community in Middletown, they came together and they had a gathering for the boy so they can all grieve as a community and this little boy's life be remembered. Hundreds of people attended. Many released balloons, for his short life. His teachers that knew him best, they had things to say there. Like one teacher said that James was a student who demonstrated everything we look for when we say Midi Pride, which references the school's like community motto, like school spirit type thing.
Yeah.
Now, James always came to school with a smile on his face. He was always well-behaved, hardworking, and loved to help others and came to school with a positive attitude. A memorial fund was established for his siblings, Rachel and Lucas. The city, school district, police department, and the local faith-based support groups opens what they call James, You Are Loved Memorial Fund at First Financial Bank, which is why I named this episode James, You Are Loved. Now, all donations...
How perfect is that?
Right? It's so sweet. Now, all the donations received would go to his siblings. None of that would be used for funeral expenses because the arrangements and everything was already donated. So all of this went straight for his siblings, which is the sweetest thing.
That is.
Now, Middletown Superintendent Marlon Stiles Jr. said, quote, "Every child is deserving of love. As a Midi family, we love James dearly and will continue to love Rachel and Lucas. There is a hope for a brighter future," end quote. Now, I will include the online site for that memorial fund. If anyone wants to donate anything, it's still open and you can still donate. So look in the show notes and I'll put that there. So I'm going to take you through court, but we're going to cover the sentencing for the mother first. I felt like that was more appropriate to start with her because I just don't understand how you can get rid of your children. How do you do that?
It happens way too many times. Yep. Way too many times.
Yeah, it's awful. So Brittany Gosney was sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after 21 years in prison in Butler County Common Pleas Court after pleading guilty to killing her son and attempting to abandon two of her other children in a park. Butler County Common Pleas Judge Noah Powers issued the maximum sentence for the 3 charges Gosney pleaded guilty to: murder and 2 counts of child endangering. The judge said there may never be a full explanation of what happened, but said that she attempted to abandon her 3 children in a Preble County park on February 26, 2021. They would have in all likelihood, not have survived that night. The principal at Rosa Parks Elementary, where James attended, also spoke in court. She said James loved to help others and always smiled. She said, quote, "That light was extinguished too soon by his own mother. He has no more tomorrows. We carry a guilt that cannot be measured, and months later, we still ask, what could we have done to predict this? No sentence would bring James back. All we can do and hope is that his death is not in vain. Our hope is that his legacy shines in a light on child abuse," end quote.
Perfectly said.
Yes. And I do want to note that the school installed a memorial bench on the schoolyards.
Oh.
Now, Gosney's attorney, David Washington, said that this case is a lesson in what happens when people can't find assistance they need. He said, quote, if you hear someone screaming for help, try to help them, he said.
That's bullshit.
I know, right? He maintains that Gosney reached out to agencies for help because she was overwhelmed and could not handle raising her children. Prosecutors say she never reached out in a meaningful way to any social service agencies.
Hello, dropped them at a fire station.
Yes. Her
or
attorney.
A hospital?
Yeah, anywhere. But a park alone.
At what was it, 3-something in the morning?
Yeah. Her attorney said that the stress she was under made her do things that are unexplainable. It's a tragedy for so many reasons. I hope that we all learn something. This could have been avoided, he said.
Whatever.
I know, that's how I read it too. I guess they got to try to defend their client somehow. I don't know.
You got to find some kind of
anything
like defense story.
I guess that was the best he got. So the judge said James tried to stop his mother from speeding away, and that's when he was dragged under the car and killed. Gosney then returned home with her 2 living children and James's body. The other children, this is where it gets worse. Here they are. James's dead body. She carries them in, puts them in that spare room and what have you. The other children were then hogtied and subjected to untold cruelty. Then James's body was thrown into the Ohio River by unholy hands, the judge said. Powers said Gosney and her boyfriend, Hamilton, tied a brick to the body and the body has not been recovered, which we already mentioned. Initially, she said that she was not guilty by reason of insanity, but after a psychological exam, they found her to be competent, so that did not work for her. Also, she was facing 16 felony charges ranging from murder to kidnapping to tampering with evidence. And as part of a plea deal, she admitted to the 1 count of murder and 2 counts of endangering children, which are still all felony level offenses. Police said that she was pressured by her boyfriend, as she keeps saying, right, to get rid of the kids, blah, blah, blah. Records show that she has previously tried to relinquish custody of her child, but faced, quote, a number of barriers when she attempted it. How? I just don't get it. Whatever. Now let's talk about her boyfriend's sentencing. Yeah. Butler County. Yeah, go ahead. He was so much older than her, too.
I was just thinking, like, how disgusting it is that he pressured her to do this, but wasn't a part of dropping them off at the park. Like,
right?
How can this?
Think about it. He wanted her to do it. He wanted her to do it, not him.
Well, yeah, like clean his hands. But
right.
Is it going to get any worse?
I don't know. And then they hog tie the kids. Like, that wasn't traumatic enough.
Oh, God.
These poor kids. So the judge, same one that she had, sentenced him to the maximum of 19 years in prison with for the kidnapping of his girlfriend's children and the help dumping of the body of the youngest son in the Ohio River. He will be eligible for release after 15 years, but could serve the maximum depending on his behavior in prison. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
He
totally disagree with that.
Right. He did plead guilty in August to gross abuse of a corpse, kidnapping, and 2 counts of endangering children. The maximum sentence for the charges was 19 years in prison. He admitted to hog tying James, putting a cloth in his mouth, and leaving him. He also admitted to doing the same to the other 2 children and to throwing the body in the river. The judge called his crime despicable. A close family friend, Catherine Lundy, came to court with James Hutchinson's father, so his bio dad, okay? She spoke to the court on behalf of the family and asked for Hamilton, the boyfriend, to receive the maximum sentence. She said, quote, "The unspeakable crime cannot be forgiven. Do you, James Hamilton, know what you single-handedly took away from us?" She stated that the surviving children have been given a life sentence due to the abuse they suffered at the hands of Hamilton. She said he alienated the family members of the children for months before helping to cover up a murder. She also went on to say, "The Ohio River is now a huge unmarked grave that no one can visit. We hope that his name and his contagious smile haunt you for the rest of your life." End quote. Prosecutors,
that's powerful,
right? I mean, I got goosebumps, just saying what she said.
Yes.
Prosecutors said that Hamilton convinced his girlfriend to abandon her kids. They also said that was on February 26th in the early morning hours, which we know from the video evidence. And that she tried to speed away from them. James gripped the door, fell, fatally struck his head. All that we know. Then they both later admitted to, getting rid of his body. And before they dumped his body, though, they actually kept James in their home for about a day before doing that. Just so you know.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody did the math on that. But yeah, they kept him around for a day or so before doing it. And prosecutors said that the couple kept James's body in their Middletown home for nearly 24 hours and hogtied the other 2 children. But Hamilton said in court that he was terribly sorry for what happened to the kids. He added that he told Brittany to bring them home after 6-year-old James was killed, and that the other child may have suffered a worse fate if he hadn't done that. I don't know what. Assistant prosecutor Kelly Heil said Hamilton was just minimizing his involvement in the crime. The couple never called 911 or sought medical attention, and said that the evidence pointed toward Hamilton pushing Gosney to do what she did. Butler County prosecutor Mike G. Moser, I'm probably saying that completely wrong, said that the sentencing might bring closure to society, but not to the siblings, James's siblings. He said he didn't murder those surviving children, but he probably murdered their souls. A sentencing memorandum is also part of the court documents filed on Hamilton's behalf that included statements from his family members. Now get this. This is crazy. I just want you to know that her boyfriend's actually married. Okay.
What?
And yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that these statements came from his 18-year-old stepdaughter and his wife, Priscilla. And they wrote letters. And in the letter, his stepdaughter says that he is a great man to her. She stated that her biological father had never really been part of her life, but that he had stepped in and became the father she needed. To say that he never did anything bad to her is true, but fails to show all the amazing things he has done to support her. She goes on to say, phone visits are never enough. I just want to see him face to face, hug and kiss him, tell him how much I miss him, and introduce him to my baby that is on the way. His wife, Priscilla, said in a letter that they have been together for 17 years and married for nearly 12 years. She said, my experience with James is he is a very kind, loving, and caring man. He has raised my baby from 6 months old and never once harmed her in any way. He was never forced to help her, but was more than willing to do so anyway. She urged the judge to give him a fair sentence instead of what you think the community is demanding. Lewis Hutchinson, which is James's biological father, said that he wants justice for his son. He said, I don't know how somebody could be a monster and do something like that to a 6-year-old and his own mother at that. When I was fighting to get him, why didn't she just give him to me? He said James was a loving child. He was a really funny child. He brought joy to everybody. He was a great kid. He was my world, he said. And that's a good question. Why didn't she just give him to his father that wanted him?
Yeah, so that doesn't work with the defense lawyer. Like, yeah, why didn't he mention that?
I'd love to know. So police initially said Butler County Children's Services had been involved with the family in the past, but officials later said that was not the case. Officials say that the family moved around a lot and lived in hotels. At her arraignment, Gosney said that she was from Dayton and she had only lived in Middletown for a short time. So there was never any children's services called. The assistant Butler County prosecutor did confirm that Butler County Children's Services had no contact with the family prior to the child's death. That was confirmed.
So what's the story with was the boyfriend, did he live with her, or was it like he was living two lives?
I don't know, because they were living together. They were clearly boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know why the wife is sticking up for him for having this affair, the second life. I don't understand it. And from what I remember, and from what I remember in the interrogation, they met at a party of a mutual friend and things started from there. Like she was homeless and he was like, I'll help you kind of thing. I don't know. I looked for what's the latest updates on this, because now it's 2 years later. What's going on? But the latest things that I could find is that 2 days after the boyfriend was sentenced, his attorney did file a notice of appeal to the 12th District Court of Appeals. And then he was appointed attorney John H. Frog III for that appeal. But in December, that attorney stated that there are no grounds for appeal in this case. Hamilton voluntarily admitted his guilt. The plea was pristine and the sentence imposed fell within the accepted range. So in the end, it was denied. No appeal for him. The last update I have is 1 year after the death of 6-year-old James, his father, Lewis, is still trying to find peace. He describes this as he is living a hell and a nightmare every day. He says that he doesn't want to forget his son. He suffers from PTSD and night terrors. He said when he closes his eyes, he sees his son being dead. Lewis wants his son's body found for closure and a proper burial. He wishes he could just speak with his son one last time. And that's all I got for you on the story of James.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Just as a reminder, if you're interested in connecting with us, we're very active on our Facebook, but we also have an Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you can't get enough of us and you want more episodes, consider supporting the podcast. You can get many perks by joining our Patreon. There's different tiers to choose from. We put out a bonus episode every month that is exclusive to you guys that are in our Patreon. And as a reminder, supporting us allows us to put those funds back into our research and all the things and materials that we need to keep the podcast going. So we are very, very thankful for that. We're also going to give you a taste of what that Patreon episode looks like. So in the next week or so, I think we're going to release one just to kind of show you what you're missing. Maybe you'll want more. It's exciting stuff. And we have a giveaway coming up. We are going to do a giveaway contest with our Operation Evil notebook for sure. an Operation Evil necklace that yours truly made, and stickers and silicone bracelets, and I think that's it. I don't know.
You made the notebook too.
Yes, I did. Good point. It will be an Operation Evil giveaway. So keep your eyes out for that. We will be doing that on Facebook. I can't keep up with too many platforms. I'm old.
We're too old.
That's hilarious. We thought the same thing. Oh, but anyways, yeah. I hope Brittany is getting what she deserves in prison every day for the rest of her life.
Yeah,
that's all.
And I hope they serve the full sentence.
Me too.
It's really not long enough, really, but
it's
I know
not.
The law is the law.
Yep. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.